So I recently heard from an artist on Tumblr who asked me for some advice. I believe they said something along the lines of, I'm a young artist just starting out. What kind of advice can you give me? And I gave, whoever it was, gave him, I think, a long list of insights that I had. But starting off with my usual rules or pieces of advice, it doesn't matter, and it's all fixable. Those are always my first two pieces of advice or the rules that I use in painting. But, you know, I listed off all the things like don't take no for an answer and, you know, find a way to make, I don't remember. I said a bunch of crap that I do believe, but it's still, ever since I posted it, since I replied to this, I've been thinking about things. And I'm not exactly sure I'm the person to ask for advice because with all my goals and all my lofty ideas, I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. Nowhere near where I planned on being when I started my goal-filled, I'm going to get this done adventure 6 years ago. It was like, I think it was 6 years ago, or it was something anyway, that I started planning for, you know, my work would be in New York, which it is. My work would be in New York, and I would be living in New York, which I'm not, and it's killing me. You know, I would be doing this, and I would be doing that. I set those goals, and I really have done almost nothing but work towards them, and I have fallen short, and I can't accept all the blame, but somewhere along the lines I failed. I've failed in a couple of different ways that I could say, but I won't, and because they, you know, things have happened with other people that I can't control. So I'm not sure I'm the right person to be giving advice, but I've been thinking about that question, and especially tonight when I was on my way here. I really, I went back and forth about coming down to the studio tonight because it literally took me 2 hours and 5 minutes to get from my apartment to here, and it is a 7-mile trip, less than 7 miles, and it took me over 2 hours. And I went back and forth when I thought it was only going to be a little over an hour. You know, should I do it? But I had two things that I really wanted to get done before the paint dried, and it was a permanent choice. You know, before I had made the decision to not fix a couple of things that I knew needed to be fixed for the work to be right, to feel right to me. But I made the decision to come here as opposed to going home, even though it's 85 degrees and extremely muggy and it's hot in my studio, and it's going to take me forever to get home tonight. On that 7-mile trip going back, it's going to take me another 2 hours. I decided to come here because I can't settle. And this is where the advice thing is in settling, not settling. I've had to do a lot of whorish things that I'm embarrassed by. Whoops. A lot of work. I've accepted a lot of work at different prices that I am extremely embarrassed by. I was putting up work on Facebook last year where I was cringing, but I was doing it to please a client. And there really was no point in it, I think. But anyway, I was doing work I didn't feel. I was doing work I didn't feel was correct. And in life, we all have to do that. We all have to compromise. And that's what I said at the time was, I'm going to compromise on this so that I can get there. I'm always willing to compromise. Now, I did settle on the subject of the work, and I've had to do it a million times in my life. I've had to settle on many jobs I've taken. I've had to settle in many situations and relationships. That's just life. And you've got to be pretty friggin' magical to not have to settle or to compromise with people. There's got to be something really, really special and beyond godlike about you to be able to say, I'm never going to settle. Well, good for you if you never have to. Good for you if you are suddenly Basquiat and the whole world, for some inexplicable reason, comes up behind you and holds you in the air and says, congratulations, you are far more talented than even you know. Or you're as talented as you believe you are. You're as talented as other people have said you are. That's a really rare occurrence. So I've had to compromise, and I've had to settle in subject matter, in taking any job, even 9-to-5 jobs that have physically ruined me at this point. Just physically and mentally and emotionally burnt me to a crisp. The one thing I don't settle on is how I paint, how I treat my subject matter. It can be the stupidest friggin' subject matter I could think of. Just horrible. And I have drawn the line a couple of times. I was asked to paint clowns twice. We draw the line at clowns. That's a definite no. That's never going to happen. No clown. No, because I do have some integrity. But I have had to do other stuff that I just cringe over, and I'm so embarrassed. I want to hide in a box somewhere. But I never settle or compromise on the quality of my painting. So if I were to give that kid advice now, today, never settle. And by that I mean never settle with yourself. Never ever say, this section is horrid, but it will do. Nobody will know the difference, because you will. And if you compromise on this with yourself, and you make excuses with yourself on the quality of your work, it is going to go from one painting to the next. It's not going to end here. It is going to haunt you. And it is going to become not just a thought, but a habit. So I took the 2-hour trip down here because when I left the other day, I was kind of happy with this section of her hair and her hair and his hair combining and covering this sign that I had done. But I also knew that I was making excuses for myself as why I didn't have to make it feel better. This is a sign under these two figures, or a building rather, but the sign reads Courtesy Diner. Now I don't want it to read Courtesy Diner. I had tried that for a couple of days and just hated it. It was so obvious. And unless their next album, Voodoo Sisters' album, is going to be called Courtesy Diner, we don't really need it showing through their hair. I just wanted a hint. I wanted the characters' faces to be right there. Their energy to take the stage, not Courtesy Diner. But I really wanted to work her hair in, and different angles of her hair and textures of her hair, sort of. It's hard to explain how my head works, but I didn't want Courtesy Diner to stand out. But I took pictures of it, went home, posted on Facebook, and realized it really felt like I was cheating. Like I had gone, well, I did it, and it's done, and it'll be okay, and I'll settle for it. The more excuses I made, the worse I felt. oh, I'm not going to make that trip down there. I won't be able to get home till late at night. I have to walk in the dark. It's going to take me hours to get home. Literally, the last time I left here at night, my studio, I'd walk through gang territory, and that's really what I have to do. And I was approached 2 or 3 times, I think, by gangs of young men. And they don't know me, they don't care. They just got to prove whatever friggin' point they have. And I just want to get home. So that's running through my head. And almost giving me permission to be lazy about this. And then I can say on Saturday, oh, or when I get back here, oh, it's unfortunate it dried, but I just couldn't make the trip. It was too hot. There are gangs. Oh, it takes so long to get there. I just want to take a nap. I'm exhausted. I can't do that. I can't settle. Because that's going to sit with me for the rest of my life. And it is going to carry over to every other painting I do. It's going to become a habit. So if I were to give that kid advice now, I would say, do not let yourself settle. Hold yourself to a certain standard. Have integrity in what you do. It doesn't matter what anyone else in this world thinks. Listen to me, the walking cliche. It does not matter what anyone else in this world thinks, because there will always be people who are more than happy to put you and your work down. People just love it. There's people that excel at it. While at the same time, they're trying to figure out how to get the work away from you for a penny. Or steal it, which has happened to me many times too. But no matter what happens to your work, no matter who criticizes you, no matter what anyone says, this is your work. This is your work. And you have to put your best into it. And that's my advice. Ciao.